Welcome to the Kneeability cardio routine. This is exactly how I do cardio if you need not only extra fat burning, if you want to get back in shape. Often, if someone has had a knee injury, you get into this trouble of how do you get back in shape for the sport. So what we're using is a cardio routine that has strong evidence behind it for actually making you more athletic, preventing knee injury, healing faster, so we get the benefits of getting back in shape while getting everything we want: more stamina, more athleticism, and more bulletproof knees. And we're going to go through it live. It takes 20 minutes because you're doing 4 sets of 2 minutes with 4-minute breaks. So if we think 4, or if we think 2, rest 4 minutes, that's 6. Do another one, that's 8, rest 12, go. So you'll get this whole thing under 20 minutes. And to be honest, I don't time my breaks. So I'm going to tell you that right now. I try to be honest with everything, try to show you what it really looks like. I'm not going to time that 4 minutes. It might go a little faster, but a lot of people really like to know an exact number. So if you use an exact number, don't take longer than 4 minutes between sets. Now, if you're dragging a sled, and some of these are very cheap to get, but there's all kinds of factors. Is the weather good outside? Do you have indoor turf? In here, we're going to do it indoor turf. If you have a short space, going backwards won't get the job done because you have to keep turning around. So you want to do a push and then backwards. That way you don't have to keep turning your sled around. So if you're inside short space, push, pull, sled. Now if you're out on like a field or something, that's great that you can go backwards. And there are some ways to mimic this. You can take a duffel bag, put 2 50-pound sandbags in it, take a rope, and you can go backwards like that. You can put your car in neutral, but all of these things get a little bit less safe. You have to be, I have to be careful what I do online. So I try to just give the sled option or the dead mill in reverse. So that's just a treadmill that's not turned on. And right in this article, you'll see videos linked to these. And then there's also some pretty cool new treadmills. I have a video in this article. Pretty cool new treadmills that are actually resisted themselves, which make it so easy. And you'll see me literally how you could do this right from one of those. So these are the safest: treadmill not turned on, resisted treadmill, or using a sled. But as I mentioned, you can reach out to me personally if you're trying to figure out how to makeshift. Last little makeshift one I like, if you're on concrete, is 100 pounds of chains and you use one of these belts. So I'll actually link where I get stuff to makeshift as well, so you know right in this article what do you do if you want to makeshift, if you want to really feel what that is like to drag something. So if you are in a gym like this using a sled with a short space, rather than timing 2 minutes, you want to try, when you start out, time 2 minutes, see roughly how far you get. So we already know in here what 2 minutes roughly is, because the way you do this routine, it's not a race. You ramp up. Okay, I want to emphasize that like crazy, so I want to really, really, really emphasize this. You start each 2 minute only at the level you can do without pain. As you get more and more blood to your knees, you want to ramp up. So the goal is to be finishing the end of the routine at your fastest. So like in here, I know it's going to take 4 push-pulls to be roughly 2 minutes, but we're going to go at a light amount, a little more pressure, a little bit more, and then the last one you're going all out. So I'll jump right into that and we'll take a look. On our sled, these are heavy-duty sleds with a bunch of attachments. So they're about 130 pounds already without weight. So I put a little over 50 pounds. I weigh about 180. So in my gym, you have to understand, turf is different. Turf is really going to vary in friction. Some turf sucks and you can barely slide a sled on it. This is called sled turf. Unfortunately, they don't make it anymore, but I will link some options. So this turf gives a nice smooth amount. And in here, I make guys do their own body weight. So whatever their body is, so you're talking the sled plus weight on top, I know. And then I know from my measurements in my gym, I know I have people go, a few feet from the end. Now I'm going backwards. When I'm going backwards, I'm thinking to lift my heel. So if you really want to see what this looked like, look at Michael Jackson doing a moonwalk to kind of get the idea. But then you want to get that into a rhythm. Ultimately, even if you didn't try at all, the sled would move. So you can see that if you just go slow, anyone can get into this. But the faster that moves, the more actual force you're putting out. So as you can go pain-free, the harder you can work, the healthier you get, the more protected you get, the stronger you get. And when I'm pushing, my intention is on ankle mobility. So notice how each step, I'm not just thinking to push the sled. I'm thinking I can feel that ankle mobility on the right, ankle mobility on the left, and I'm being sure to keep the weight on my big toe rather than avoiding like that. That would be an avoidance. If I go here, I'd kind of be avoiding the VMO. So I stay on my big toes, and I'm just thinking every step, right ankle mobility, left ankle. So it's ankle mobility, I'm taking down, and on the way back, I'm trying to lift my heel and push that big toe. And once you get in a rhythm, then ultimately, you're just trying to move that foot. The harder you work to move it, the more it burns, the more force there is to get stronger. So that was 2. Already that burn's coming in. And with them, we're gonna be able to kind of interview them to see. Oh yeah, that burn is really coming in all through here. I feel mostly the VMOs. It's okay if you feel some other parts though. So now I'm just chasing. I'm chasing the most I can burn. On fire. All right, Marley, you're gonna take this one. Woo. Mars will take that. So, in our workouts, one of these is the minimum for a warm-up, but now I could rest up to 4 minutes, and I could do up to 4 rounds. And this can be done before your workouts, and it can be done standalone as an off-day cardio routine. Good, guys. Think about ankle mobility. Let's put your hands. Think about ankle mobility, and think about no knee pain. Find a step that you don't feel even the slightest knee pain. Can you find that spot mark? Good. Just there. Just good. Same thing back. Find a step where you feel no knee pain whatsoever. And then you're constantly playing with that line of how much can I put out. But if you think in your mind, light set, if you think to gradually go like that, we know you're increasing your chances of increasing intensity without pain. So if you had like a buddy, you wouldn't race him for every set. You'd race him on the last set, second set. And you would only race them on the backwards portion because the forwards depends on using that ankle mobility. And so I'll do that. When these guys get to the 4th set, I'll have them only on the way back sort of race each other, and you'll see how the burn will go through the roof. Getting some burn coming in? Good. If you guys follow at Basketball Connor Barth, although depending on when you watch this, I'm trying to get him to change his Instagram name to @IMakeDunkers. If you guys follow him, he has the gym record in ATG on this push-pull. Like if you put a timer to it, the guy has the gym record, and he also has the gym record for most leg power and verticality. So it's pretty interesting there that the guy who jumps the highest is strongest on this, because you can't. This is just pure leg drive. Good job, guys. Feel that burn? Yeah. Awesome, awesome. Marcus is rehabilitating. I mean, a doctor said he might have torn his ACL. That was what, 2 years ago? 1 year ago. So, I'm not advising people to skip surgery, but if there's anything that people have had scheduled surgery and then cancel, it's doing this shit every day. Good, fast as you can, Marcus. Use your arms, yeah. All right, fast as you can, catch him. Oh yeah, good. How's it burn? Good job. All right, now I will let this sort of fast forward. I'm gonna jump on my second set, and I will see you guys back on the 4th set. I actually want to give you another quick tip. We're finishing round 2. I did my round 2, they're in the round 2. So Marcus has that imbalance that we're bringing up that right leg. So we're gonna watch him do a push-pull. So remember, Marcus, at first you couldn't get a burn in the right?
Yeah.
You getting that burn now?
Yeah.
So I get this question a lot. It's like, how do I get one side to burn? Look, I went through this with my left knee. In this left knee, dude, I have like fake kneecap. I have a dead guy's meniscus. I was told I had a torn ACL. I never operated on torn MCL. I had a quad tendon repair. So at first I couldn't make this left leg burn, but you know what did it? Is you just think with that side. You just put your intention. So I'm in Marcus's mind right now. Ready? Right leg, right leg, right leg. I'm telling you, just keep doing that, and I promise the burn will eventually get there. But it's gonna be a combination of thinking it plus the work, and eventually it's gonna get there. I promise, works every time. Good right leg pump. Now we're on the road to gains. He's back playing, he's back dunking on something that, you know, maybe could have been a much bigger issue. There's no break down there. You wanna keep that, even if you slow down, you wanna keep going. So even if you go even if as it goes, you go at a slower pace, that's okay, you should keep going, keep that pump in there. It's absolutely unbelievable what you're doing for your body. Proven that with sled work, you can recover in as little as 3 hours. So what's happening is you're creating more blood to the areas that are very hard to get blood to with faster recovery. So this is how I've had dozens of people walk into this gym. And again, I cannot tell you to do this, but I've had dozens of real people walk in with scheduled surgeries. I don't let them do any weight train. I just have them do this step, and they were able to cancel those surgeries. Without this, don't know if that would have been possible. All right, I'm gonna hit at my set 3. I'll probably see you at the end of set 4, unless I think of something else. They're on their last trip of the 3rd round. I just want you to look in their eyes. I'm gonna talk to you, I just want you to look in their eyes. This is a teaching point I thought of for this round. When it gets really fucking hard, oh yeah, good. Hold on, good, stop right here, right. I want you guys to go at the same time. Ready? Go, who wants it? You gotta think the badder you want it, the more you're gonna adapt. Like when it really sucks, be grateful that your joints don't hurt or your muscles do. Because here we are complaining about joint pain. Now we start to feel muscle burn and we start to bitch out. So be grateful. But it's better than your knees hurt, isn't it? Exactly, so be grateful. When you're in those shitty times, gratitude, man, I get to work out my legs. I have legs, my knees don't hurt. So when your knees don't hurt and you're feeling that burn that you just wanna tap out, go even harder, because realize the harder you work, the more physiological adaptation you produce. So that was my teaching point for that one. I'm gonna go hit up this last one. I'll have him film my last round and then give you my little interview when I finish this last one. Actually, while I do my last one, just interview these guys, see what it feels like. Try to describe what it feels like.
I mean, it's tough, don't get me wrong, but like, once you start getting into it and blood flowing and you get in a rhythm, it makes it that much easier. The push is easier, the pull is the one that's tougher. So that's the only thing I can really say. And like if you are hurting, this is like very, very good to do, because it like gets your blood flow and it takes the pain away at the same time.
Yeah, totally. Just to add on what he said, all the running and stuff like that is good for cardio and stuff, but it actually damages your knee. I've always had pain in my knees from running. First time doing this, no knee pain, more blood flow, and now I have no knee pains at all, no matter if I run or anything, because of that. It's the best.
Here I am. I'm grateful that I'm about to fall over, but I thought of one more point that's so important. Squats and deadlifts in traditional training, your foot's just flat. Look at this. I'm loading. Foot pains, man. I used to have to crawl to the bed in the morning because my feet were in so much pain. At ATG, our athletes, they grow up, they don't even know what it's like to have foot pain, to have shin splints. But with squats and deadlifts in traditional training, you're asking for that stuff. With this, every step, you're building from the ground up. You're taking your strength and transferring it to the playing surface, and you cause crazy foot adaptations. So you won't have foot pain, shin splints, Achilles issues either. All right, that was the end of knee ability cardio.